Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do the show and let's find out what's going on in the world. Listen, I'm glad to have you guys here. Today is September 4th, 2019. It's a Wednesday. Let's get started. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look at what's going on. Now, first thing, there's articles out there in the news right now that's saying 4 devastating storms are swirling near the U.S. You know, and it might be getting all you guys frightened because of these hurricanes. It's like 4 huge hurricanes ready to devastate everything. It says 4 devastating storms swirling near the United States. Well, let's take a look. Let's get into the reality of what's really going on here. Here's our 4 storms from the National Hurricane Center. Dorian is the worst right now. Now, Dorian's been downgraded and downgraded and downgraded and downgraded. Now, it's only a hurricane with 105-mile-an-hour winds. I say only. That's still a hurricane, but that's the worst of these 4 storms. 105 miles an hour, and it's off the coast, and it looks like it doesn't look like it's really going to make any solid landfall anywhere. If we take a look at the charts here now, because now remember, Dorian's the worst one. We're going to take a look at Dorian here, and we're going to take a look at where it's going, and we can see that it's just going to make like kind of like a U-turn, and then go out to sea. So that one's basically a big can load of you know, I mean. Now, what about the next one here? This little one here, Ferdinand. You know? Let's take a look at what Ferdinand's going to do. It's just going to hit Mexico, and it doesn't have very much winds at all. I mean, it's just, we're just looking at not even hurricane, hardly. It's just going to be a bit of rain. Now, let's knock off the next one. These 4 devastating storms that are going to destroy everything. Gabriel, okay? We're going to run through Gabriel real quick here. Tropical storm Gabriel. It's not even a hurricane. It's a tropical storm. And what's it going to do? Well, let's take a look at the charts. It's just going to go out to sea. So that's not going to amount to anything much. What about this one here? This tropical disturbance. Well, it's just a disturbance. It's probably going to go out to sea too. It's not even close to land. So there's your 4 storms. I don't think any one of them's going to amount to much, you know, except for Dorian. And Dorian is weakening by the minute. It's staying off the coast. It's going to basically go out to sea, you know, for the most part. So I don't see all of this devastation that they're talking about in the news, you know. Because look what it says. Hurricane Tracker Update. Map shows 4 devastating storms swirling near the U.S. Yeah, okay, that's correct. There is 4 storms, and they are swirling near the U.S. But as far as being devastating, I'm not so sure. Now, let's take a look at the silver price today. Guess what? Silver's holding its gains. Holding its gains very nicely on the uncertainty in the world. This shows you, right now, it's only uncertainty out there. But what this shows you is silver and gold are going to react to crisis situations. Investors are going to run into gold and silver. This should show you what the trade's going to be. Okay? And we're coming to a period very close in the near future where these economic disasters that we see looming up ahead are probably going to become reality, and they're already showing you which direction they're going to go. Gold and silver. Gold and silver. Silver and gold. And silver and gold are really starting to shine right now. Let's take a look at the gold price. $15.44 ask. Down $2.80, but that's not much down. I mean, it's up. Overall, it's up. Take a look at silver again real quick before we move on. We'll get the accurate price here this morning. $19.40 ask. It's up 7 cents on the day, and it's holding its gains real well. Now let's take a look at cryptocurrency and see what it's doing. And we see cryptocurrency is in this little period right now of uncertainty. They're kind of waiting for stimulus. We get stimulus measures coming down the pike, which is probably what's going to happen in the very near future. And we're going to see cryptocurrency turn back up again. But it's waiting. It's waiting for these stimulus measures. While it's waiting, it might dip down a little bit while it's waiting, you know. But while Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies are waiting for this stimulus to come along, they might dip down a little bit lower. But overall, once this stimulus comes, might be a few months away, depending on what the markets do. Once these low interest rates come, and once we get these new stimulus packages, cryptocurrency is a fire is gonna get lit underneath it again, and cryptocurrency is gonna start to actually move. Now let's take a look at the Dow this morning. She's up 207 points on the day so far. The Dow is kind of in this waiting cycle, just like cryptocurrency. Now we can see similarities in the patterns. Now I want to show you something about the Dow. Go along here. This is a 1-year chart. And what you see is normal movement in the Dow. Okay, we did have a few dips, you know, but this is normal movement in the Dow. But all of a sudden, right here, toward the end of the chart, right here, starting on, let's see, about a month ago or a month and a half ago, you can see it right here if you look at it. You can see it. There's this up and down volatility, but it's going sideways. The Dow's going sideways. But look at this change in volatility in the Dow over this last little while due to this uncertainty. And you can see exactly where it started. It started right there. Right there. Let me kind of try to focus the chart in on it, you know, so you guys can see when the volatility kind of started right in here after this little drop. And you can see it up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's like it's marching, you know. Let me focus in right here on it. Just a little tail in here on the end, you know. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. This volatility. Anyway, I wanted to point that out so you guys could see that. It's kind of waiting. It's waiting to see what's going to happen here. And in this waiting cycle, if they get what they want, the Dow gets what it wants, it's going to go up. The Dow does. If turbulent events happen, make the Dow tumble down. The Dow's in this waiting. It's basically like a holding pattern. It's like when you're coming in on a flight, you know, and all of a sudden the pilot says, "We're going to circle the city. We're going to circle the airport. We're in a holding pattern." That's what we're in right there. And there's volatility, a lot of volatility in this holding pattern. Let's take a look now at oil. Oil's shooting up in price today. It's up $1.44, 2.67% on the day so far. It's quite a little. That's quite a little sizable move up for sweet light crude. You know, at $55.38. Now let's take a look at the treasuries. And we're seeing yields rising today on the U.S. treasuries. Not a big rise. We're still in the yield curve inversion. The 30-year is still below 2%. That's at 1.987. And we're still looking at the 1 month above 2%. You know, so we still have a nice solid yield curve inversion. But, you know, these bonds are under a tremendous amount of pressure right now. It's a bubble. Now, there's different types of bubbles, you know. Silver and gold have been in a bubble, but it's been in an opposite type of a bubble. It's like you got a pressured bubble this way, and you got an inverse bubble, you know. They've been in just the exact opposite. And so what happens is when something's in a super bubble, these bonds are in a super bubble right now, the tendency is for it to pop in the opposite direction. Whereas silver and gold are in the opposite type of bubble, and they're popping in the opposite direction again. So these bonds could spring back. these yields could rise. You know, it's just as much as yields can fall, yields can rise. Let's not forget that. Let's take a look now at the U.S. dollar index. And we're looking at 98.99, not 98.66, I should say, on the U.S. dollar index. And it was up 99. I mean, it's fell back a little bit. So we got a little bit of a dropping dollar. Gold and silver haven't responded that much because they've just taken a big jump up in price. You know, so they're not responding too much to the dollar settling back down today. But it's keeping them bullish, you know, and we're going to have to wait and see where gold and silver goes. We might get a little period of calm coming in here, and no market goes up in a straight line. The gold and the silver have taken a big increase in price. They could cool off a little bit for a little bit, but I don't see silver going below 17 now at this point, and I don't see gold going below say 14. I can't see it going too much below, like, say, 1470 or whatever, you know, for the next little bit, even if they do cool off a little bit. But that would be normal because they've taken such a big rise up in price for them to cool just a little bit for a little while before they take this next big rise in price again later. That would be normal market action, you know. Now, they're hoping for trade deals. Really, the market. This is one of the things the market's waiting for. They're waiting for a trade deal, you know. I don't see any trade deals in the near future. It says one day after stocks first tumbled when the United States and China launched a new round of sanctions over the weekend, then rebounded for no comprehensible reason, then tumbled again following a Bloomberg report of difficulties in settling a schedule for both sides that had failed to agree on a date for Chinese officials to meet their U.S. counterparts in Washington. Standard & Poor's futures once again magically recovered all losses, but not for long, having since sunk again, sliding so much, you know. So the market's going up and down on news of this trade deal. I don't think they're going to get a trade deal very soon. I think they're going to have a long wait for this. If that's what they're waiting for, a magical trade deal to appear, I don't see that in the cards. Now listen, I want to just talk about Brexit just for a minute, just for a few seconds. You got all these newspaper articles saying that here, Boris is defeated because they passed a bill. Right? They passed a bill to block Brexit. Well, you know, just because they passed that bill does not mean that bill's law. That bill now has 3 days to go to the House of Lords. And normally, now if the House of Lords passes it, then it would go to ascension to the Queen, I guess, or whatever. I'm not exactly sure how British law works, but the bill's got, I do know this, the bill's got to get passed through the House of Lords. And normally they take a long time. They only got 3 days. Well, I'm just going to say one thing. Good luck with that, guys. You know, so, and if the bill don't get passed in the next 3 days, then it's basically gone. It just, you know, and then they will go into recess for the British Parliament will go into recess then. And the bill just basically just dies on the floor if it doesn't get passed. So these next 3 days are going to be important to see if that bill actually gets passed through the House of Lords. Now that's my understanding on it. If I'm wrong about it, you guys correct me on it but I don't think I'm wrong about that. I think I got that right. Anyway, so that's what we got to wait for to see if it actually passes through the House of Lords. Now, that's as far as Brexit's concerned. Now let's take a look what's going on here in China real quick. I know I'm moving through these things pretty quick, but here's the thing. This trade war, Chinese stocks were falling. Now Chinese stocks are going back up again. Chinese stocks are soaring. Beijing has vowed to prop up its economy. Well, how do they prop up the economy? Well, I'll tell you, stimulus. They're going to stimulus. They're going to create more funny money. So they've already yielded. It's our Fed that hasn't yielded to the markets, right? The Chinese have already yielded. They've already gonna do stimulus, whatever it takes. You know, as Draghi always said, whatever it takes, just print the money and let them have it. Well, that's what the Chinese are doing right now. They're gonna print the money, and they're just gonna kickstart their economy and with more easy funny money, you know, to prop up their economy. And so this is how they're fighting the tariffs. They're just gonna print a whole bunch of funny money. Simple, you know. And so they're not in any their markets. The Chinese stock market is soaring. They're not worried. Well, why are they going to cut a deal anytime soon if they're not worried? Because they're stimulating their economy. It's our economy we need to worry about, because our Fed's not doing the same thing. Our Fed is not just gave in and going to print billions worth of money. We're the ones that need to worry. Our stock market's the ones that need to sit there and scratch their head and say, well, when's the Fed going to give us some free, easy money? And that's what they're waiting for. That's why we got the volatility in the market. When the Fed capitulates, it's like the Chinese have already capitulated. When the Fed capitulates, too, then we'll see the market go up. Listen, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and give me a thumbs up, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye, guys.